Even Krishna says that in the end too. He says if you explain the science to the devotees,
Krishna wants he can take anyone. He can let him be. He can be there. When worship Krishna,
years ago. Yeah, I was there with the most two when she said.
A lot of preaching. Tanme Vyakyatumarhasi.
Adhuneya Mahabhaga
Adhunena Mahabhaga
Tathaiva Naraka Naraha
Yathaiva Narakan Naraha
Nanagro Jathanan Jeyat
Nano Gayatanan Neyat
Tanme Bhakutam Arhoshi
Tanme Vyakyatumarhasi. Wanna try it?
Aduneha Mahabhaga
Adhuneha Mahabhaga
Yathaiva Narakan Naraha
Yathaiva Narakan Naraha Nano Gayatanan Neyat
Tanme Vyakyatumarhasi.
Tanme Vyakyatumarhasi. Sadhu, sadhu. Very good. Padapataha. Padapataha. Pada is the word and pataha reading the words. Adhuna. Right now. Iha. In this material world. Mahabhaga. O greatly opulent and fortunate Shukadev Goswami. Yatha. So that. Eva.
Indeed.
Excuse me for a moment. Indeed. Narakan. All the hellish conditions. Into which the impious are put. Naraha. Human beings. Nana. Varieties of. Ugra. Terrible. Yatanam. Conditions of suffering. Naiyat. May not undergo. Tat. That. May. To me. Vyakyatum arhasi. Please describe. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. I wonder if the purport goes on after the pictures, because
That's just
I'm just
one
taking...
long paragraph, not very long.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Okay. Yeah. One long paragraph, correct. O greatly fortunate and opulent Shukadev Goswami, now kindly tell me how human beings may be saved from having to enter hellish conditions in which they suffer terrible pains. Purport. In the 26th chapter of the 5th canto, Shukadev Goswami has explained that people who commit sinful acts are forced to enter hellish planets and suffer. Now Maharaj Parikshit, being a devotee, is concerned with how this can be stopped. A Vaishnava is paradukha dukhi. In other words, he has no personal troubles, but he is very unhappy to see others in trouble. Prahlad Maharaj said, "My Lord, I have no personal problems, for I have learned how to glorify your transcendental qualities and thus enter a trance of ecstasy. I do have a problem, however, for I am simply thinking of these rascals and fools who are busy with Maya Sukha, temporary happiness without knowledge of devotional service unto you. This is the problem faced by a Vaishnava. Because a Vaishnava fully takes shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he personally has no problems. But because he is compassionate toward the fallen conditioned souls. He is always thinking of plans to save them from their hellish life in this body and the next. Parikshit Maharaj therefore anxiously wanted to know from Shukadeva Goswami how humanity can be saved from gliding down to hell. Shukadeva Goswami had already explained how people enter hellish life, and he could also explain how they could be saved from it. Intelligent men must take advantage of these instructions. Unfortunately, however, the entire world is lacking Krishna consciousness, and therefore people are suffering from the grossest ignorance, and do not even believe in a life after this one. To convince them of their next life is very difficult, because they have become almost mad in their pursuit of material enjoyment. Nevertheless, our duty, the duty of all sane men, is to save them. Maharaj Parikshit is the representative of one who can save them. Wow.
Nice verse.
So, all I can say is that I am one of those rascals and fools who are busy with Maya Sukha, temporary happiness. So how can I save others when I myself am indulging in this nonsense? It was very difficult. Daivihi esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. So Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that this Maya is his internal energy, Daivi. It is transcendental. Daivi can be explained. Daivi can be explained in several ways. Daivihi, certainly. Gunamayi means the three gunas, Rajogun, Tamogun, and Sattvagun. And people are not educated in this. So how would they know what it is? Without getting educated, what is the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance? Sattva guna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna. How can they make a choice between the gunas? There was an article in the USA Today that alcohol is a great killer of people here in this country. And yet the government is allowing alcohol to be sold openly and freely. And most of the people are indulging in alcohol. That's what they think the purpose of life is. Work, earn money, come home, and take alcohol. And then you feel better. You forget the miseries. So this is the Maya Sukha Prabhupada was talking about here in the purport. The illusion that you're happy when actually you're suffering. Now, Prabhupada said Prabhupada comments, a Vaishnava fully takes shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so he personally has no problems, but we see that some Vaishnavas suffer, some even get killed in car accidents. But because those Vaishnavas surrendered to Krishna, it is considered because their level of surrender we cannot gauge. How much a Vaishnava is pleasing Krishna, we cannot understand. First of all, Krishna is there in the heart. He's Upadrashta Anumanta Cha Bhokta Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara. He's the great Lord of everything, and he sees all the activities of all the living entities. And so, if a Vaishnava has to suffer, that, Prabhupada commented, is part of the previous karmas from previous lives that was not burned. Those sinful activities were not burned up, and so they suffer in this life. They suffer in this life. But because they've already made the decision to surrender to Krishna, they will be blessed by the Lord. They will be uplifted. The soul has to go somewhere. The soul leaves the body and goes into another body. So Lord Krishna instructed about this in Bhagavad Gita, that if someone is in the mode of ignorance, someone is in the mode of goodness, he goes up. Urdhvam gachanti sattvasta. Urdhva, up. Gachanti, they go. Bahuvachanam, plural. They go up. Sattvasta, who can fix themselves in the mode of goodness. Madhye tishtanti rajasaha. Those who are in the mode of passion, they stay here in the next life. And adho gachanti tamasaha. Those who are on the mode of ignorance go down. The vast majority of human beings don't know what are these modes, what are these gunas. Even we, devotees, are bewildered. Food, stuffs we're eating that are in the mode of ignorance. Yeah, many I've seen. It's not only here, even in India. The food from the market. Bread, when was it cooked? But many devotees eat the bread from the market. I try and avoid it, but the diabetic lady over there, she has to eat it. But it's in the mode of ignorance. How? It's not meat, it's not onion and garlic, but it was cooked much before being eaten, right? Yata yama gata rasam. If yata means gone, and yama is 3 hours. So when 3 hours are gone after cooking, that food is considered to go into the mode of ignorance. So a lot of things that we buy off the shelves to eat, it looks like it's vegetarian, it's no onion and garlic, no eggs. I went into that Sevananda shop here, they sell eggs. And then one guy there, I said, there's no meat in this shop? No meat. Then why are you selling eggs? So one guy said, eggs are vegetarian. I said, eggs are not vegetarian, they were meant to be a chicken. How can it be vegetarian? But there are foods that don't have meat, fish, or eggs that are still in the mode of ignorance because they were cooked earlier. They're not freshly cooked. So that's part of the Vedic system. Freshly cook, offer, and take before it degrades. Although Prabhupada said if it's prasad, it's transcendental. But even prasad, sometimes we feed to the birds and the animals. If we could distribute it all, then we just put it out for animals to eat it. But this concept, what is goodness? It's not only food. Then like alcohol, different substances are there. Substance abuse, they call it, right? And here, because of this you only live once mentality, that there's not a next life, which Prabhupada commented on here right at the end of the purport. To convince them of their next life is very difficult because they have become almost mad. So in order to enjoy, people will do anything. They'll take any substance, drugs, alcohol, to escape the misery of the material world. And what is the misery? Janma mrityu jara vyadhi, birth, death, old age, and disease. So now we're getting into old age, especially all of us sitting here. And there are different infirmities. Your feet hurt, my gallbladder gets inflamed if I take too many milk products. Some people take out their gallbladders. It gets expanded and then it doesn't contract again. There's stones inside. There are so many such miseries. We can make a list, but that list I think is endless. There's no end of the different sufferings. Someone has back pain, someone has neck pain, someone has, knee pain, arthritis, they can't walk. We know one of our godbrothers whose wife can hardly walk. He's visiting here now. He sent me a message, an email. This morning I checked my email. I thought I'm going to leave early, but well, let's see. Anyway, so not only are we suffering in this life, but then if we engage in sinful activities, we'll have to suffer in the next life. Now in Gita it says, Karmanascha bodhavyam. You should know what is karma. Karmanascha bodhavyam, bodhavyam pi vikarmana. So what are vikarmas? Bad karmas. This is a common English expression in this country, bad karma. Right? Very common. Every day you'll hear it on the radio. And they themselves don't know what bad karma really is. They're all meat eaters and they all drink. They'll tell you about bad karma while describing which beer is good and which beer is not good. Oh boy. And they think they're intelligent, and they have awards and degrees and whatever to praise each other. But they don't know what are the three gunas. They don't know about punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, born again, die again. What do they know? So, preaching to such people is very difficult to get them to change. Some people are open. One of the men at that shop, he said, I'm very interested in this. Wow, I didn't know. I said onion and garlic. I told one of the workers in the shop, how can I help you? African-American guy. And I said, yeah, we don't eat onion and garlic. He said, onion and garlic? What's wrong with that? So I said, it's in the mode, there are three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance, and it's in ignorance. Wow, I never thought of that. There's no education. Our own people. Of course, Prabhupada was very liberal with initiation, as we know. There's a story, because sometimes when we become strict about giving initiation, some I feel are over strict, making people wait for years and years for initiation. You know about that, right? 5 years, 10 years. Prabhupada was 6 months, and when Prabhupada went to Mexico City, there's a story, right? The temple president said, Prabhupada, you may not come here again. Prabhupada visited Mexico City twice, Caracas once, otherwise he didn't go to South America, Brazil, Argentina, many places he couldn't go, even though he crisscrossed the world 12 times. Or 14, I don't know, some people say 14, some say 12, whatever it was. So when he went to Mexico City the second time, he said, Prabhupada, many people want initiation, but some of them haven't lived in the temple for 6 months. It was 6 months. It was that liberal. And so, what should we do? So Prabhupada said, show them your mercy. Get them initiated. So Prabhupada was very liberal about initiating people. And many people fell down. So that was, they asked Prabhupada. So he said, when you're fighting a battle, when you're fighting a war, there are casualties. So we shouldn't be so worried, but there are casualties. We shouldn't be so worried about that. We have to keep on fighting the war. But the war on Maya it's a very, very tough struggle. Daivihi mama Maya durataya. So the word dur in Sanskrit means difficult. You know that verse, Durgam patastat kavayo vadanti? Durgam. Durgama in Sanskrit actually. Dur, difficult, gama, to go. So difficult to cross, like a mountain. And nowadays we get all these videos and pictures on WhatsApp. And someone sent a picture of buses in Afghanistan. And I mean, there was just enough room on the side of a mountain. You saw that video?
I saw.
Just unbelievable that you can only travel in one direction. Another bus couldn't pass. We have these roads in India when you go to Badrinath. You're on this type of a road and sometimes the mountain collapses. And there's only room for one-way traffic. Even then, these are not Pakka roads also. They're like unpaved roads. And so that's a Durgam Patastat. That, Pata is road. Durgama, difficult to cross. Durgam Patastat Kavayo Vadanti. Kavayaha are poets, literally means poets. Kavi is a singular, Kavayaha plural. Bahuvachanam is plural. Bahu, many, vachanam, words, plural. Ekvachanam, singular. Kavi, Kavayaha. Kavayaha, Vadanti. Vadanti, Vada, singular, Vadanti, plural. They say that the spiritual path is difficult to cross. Durgam Patastat. So Dur, how did I get to Dur?
We're talking about it's difficult to bring people.
Right. So in the fight, how did I?
Fighting with the karmas they don't want to accept,
Yeah. No, I remembered Duratyaya. Mama Maya Duratyaya. Duratyaya. Very difficult. What Maya? The illusion of the material world is very difficult. But Mameva ye prapadyante. So the remedy. Now we were singing this Jeev Jago. Eneche Aushodi Maya. Aushodi is medicine. Oshadha. Eneche Aushodi Maya. The remedy for this Maya. Mameva ye prapadyante is to surrender to me. Those who surrender Mayam etam taranti. Taranti means to cross over. They can cross over by surrender. Eneche Aushodi Maya. Nashi Baralagi Harinama Mahamantra Now to be Magi. So the holy name is part of the surrender. And the mood of surrender, and actually engaging in various types of devotional service. So you have that Mandira Marjanado. Mandira Marjana, cleaning the temple, Ado, and other such services. But who wants to do it? Who wants to do it? Very few. But there are devotees. In India we see it. Many temples and many servants in the temples. That's one way. Or outside the temple, at home, chanting, kirtan, teaching the children Gita, in the grihastas, in the houses. So one has to uplift himself, and then the devotee tries to uplift others. A Vaishnava tries to live, and living tries to spread the holy name around. Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote like that. But Bodhamyam api vikarmanaha is there. Even though we say it's easy, and chanting is the way to destroy papas. But still, this instruction was given to Arjuna, and we can't take it lightly. Right? Karmanas chapi bodhamyam, bodhamyam chapi vikarmana, akarmanas cha bodhamyam. Why? Gahanat karmano gatihi, because the results of these karmas are very deep. Gahana. Gahana means deep. Gati, the result, the end of these karmas, it may take you to the hellish planets, or hellish condition in this planet, which we see many people like Siberia type of living in ice, the whole, freezing weather the whole year. Here you get cold weather, but not like that. Not like that.
Cold weather and no sunshine.
And no sunshine also, yeah.
6 months dark.
Oh, to describe all the hellish conditions. Wow. There's just thousands of them. Thousands of hellish conditions. How to avoid it? But people don't think, even we're not fully. What to speak of the others who have no concept that they should. Or they're cheap solutions. They're being cheated by those who offer a cheap path to surrender, to liberation. Sahajiyas, etc., whose names we may not mention. But they don't stop their sinful activities. They don't understand that they have to get out of the mode of ignorance and into the mode of goodness. Otherwise, there's no question of moksha, liberation. One has to situate himself in goodness. Big consideration. Is that enough? Hare Krishna, questions? Sitam statve prasidati. One has to situate himself in the mode of goodness.
So despite saying the holy name once, you cannot commit enough sinful activity that once saying the holy name eradicates. At the same
That's
time,
Shuddha Harinam.
at the same time we're saying, oh, you're still getting reaction.
Yeah, because it's Nama Parad, Nama Bhas, Shuddha Harinam. So Nama Parad, if you go on repeating, you don't get free.
Lord Chaitanya says that second verse, that there's no hard and fast rules.
Yeah,
Nam Nam Makari Bahudadi, just always like this.
right.
And yet still you're saying you have all these rules. Special things.
Still there is devotion. Janma Parijali Savana Kirtan Pavitra Rapaye Krishna Pade Premadhar.
I didn't hear that. I don't know what's it mean.
Fir se Maharaj.
If you read the English,
You can go on chanting the holy name life after life. Still you will
you
not
never
achieve.
get results.
Still you cannot achieve the love of Godhead unless you make yourself free from the offenses. That is also there.
But he says, Nam Nam Makari Bahudadi Vasasa.
Nija Sarva Shaktis. Yeah, all of your power is in your holy names.
And there's no hard and fast rule.
There's no hard and fast rule.
There's so many names.
For chanting the names, there's no hard and fast rule, but this is in Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Fir se boliye.
This is also spoken by Mahaprabhu.
No, Mahaprabhu said this according to Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Why is he saying those?
That you may chant for many lifetimes, but unless you give up offensive chanting, so Nam Aparad, that's what we understand. That's the understanding.
Another verse also, এক কৃষ্ণ নামে যে পাপ করে পাপীরা সাধনার পর পাপ করে এক কৃষ্ণ
That is pure name. Hare Krishna name, that is pure name. What happens?
Shuddha Harinam.
শুদ্ধ হরিনাম
So there are three
পাপ
classifications:
করে
offensive chanting, clearing, and pure. So those who are performing sadhana are supposed to be in the clearing stage, namabhas.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur used to say, Namakhyar vahi hai, naam nahi hai. Chanting names, that is, if only the akhyars is coming out,
I see.
the ka, kha, cha, cha, that is not name.
Well, then again, going back to Godhead, there's a southern city, there's a Kripa city.
Yeah.
So
Sadhana Siddha, Kripa Siddha.
Kripa is probably a little easier, like Prabhupada said. I just tried to please my Guru Maharaj. And we see some devotees getting that mercy, like when Rama Kelly, and at that moment of death, it's just amazing to see. Despite all else, all the faults,
He chanted Hare Krishna.
he's crying out to Bhaktivinoda at the moment
Hare
of death.
Krishna, Hare.
Like they're crying, and then boom, lift his body on such auspicious day.
One of Prabhupada's godbrothers, who was envious of Prabhupada,
I don't want to do that.
left his body in 1976. Bhakti Vilas Tirtha Maharaj. So, I mean, we were in Hyderabad for the temple opening, Prabhupada was there. And so Jayapataka Maharaj had come from Mayapur and brought this news. I mean, I wasn't personally present when he was speaking with Prabhupada, but we all heard later. He said to Prabhupada, where did he go? Excuse me. Prabhupada said, back home, back to Gandhi. But Prabhupada, he was envious of you. I was, well, that wasn't so important. That wasn't so important.
So he pleased his Guru Maharaj once, I heard. So he pleased his Guru Maharaj once. That wasn't enough.
Prabhupada wrote in a purport in the Bhagavatam that my God brothers and I, we are not working conjointly, but we are preaching and making many thousands of disciples. So Prabhupada acknowledged that his God brothers made disciples. So there's an argument from some, devotees, I won't mention what devotees they are, that only a Mahabhagavat can be a guru that gives initiation. But we may or may not consider that the God brothers Prabhupada was talking about were all Mahabhagavats, but he praised their activity of making disciples. Of course, we can say, well, we could consider that they're all Mahabhagavats. I mean, Prabhupada's God brothers who were preaching, because they were pleasing their guru by preaching. But they weren't working conjointly. So that was a lamentation, because Bhaktisiddhanta wanted them to work conjointly. So, making Vaishnavas is the business of a preaching mission. And that happens through initiation. And initiation is given in person, not in a dream or some mystic process. There's a, guru and disciple. The disciple becomes the guru. But some people, they don't want to accept that. They're also lost their sense of understanding. Prabhupada said disciplic succession so many times. He never outlined another system that, he would go on giving initiation after he disappeared. If he did, we would all follow that. If he had taught that in these books, and if it was a tradition in our sampradaya, we would all follow it. Hare Krishna. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai.